On the morning of July 25th, 2025, somebody posted a link on 4chan, and the message next to it, if I clean up the language a little bit, was basically driver's license and face pics. Get in here before they shut down. And for the next few hours, strangers did exactly that. They downloaded 72,000 photos of women, selfies, driver's license, passport photos, pictures of women holding their IDs up next to their faces to prove who they are. And the app all of this came from, it was built to keep women safe. Let me back up because the whole thing is one long awful piece of irony. The app is called T, and the idea honestly wasn't a bad one. It was women's only space where women could anonymously check and warn each other about men they were dating. Flag the guy who's married, the guy with a history, the guy who gives people a bad feeling, a safety net. And in the summer of 2025 it blew up. #1 on the App Store, millions of users, everyone's talking about it. Now, to keep it women only, T asked every user to do one thing when they signed up. Take a selfie holding their government ID to prove that they were real and to prove that they were a woman. Reasonable on paper, and T told them clearly, don't worry, these photos get deleted immediately after we verify you. Except they didn't get deleted. They got kept in an old storage folder in the cloud that nobody bothered to lock or wipe or protect, just sitting there for over a year. And that's the folder that ended up on 4chan. So already, an app about safety just exposed the single most identity revealing thing a person can hand over. Their face and their government ID together in one photo. For women who were on this app, specifically because they were being careful, some of them survivors, some of them hiding from exactly the kind of person who'd love to know their real name and face. And then, because this story didn't have a bottom yet, it got worse. A few days later, a security researcher went poking around and found a second wide open door. This one led to the messages, the private direct messages between users. 1.1 million of them, and these weren't small talk. People had used this app to talk about the most sensitive things in their lives: abortions, affairs, abuse, health scares, real names, phone numbers, plans to meet up in person. So here's the question everybody asks at this point: who hacked them? Was it some elite crew, some nation state, some genius with a 0 day? No, and this is the part I really need to hear because it's the whole point. Nobody hacked T. Nobody broke in. There was no firewall to smash, no password to crack, no clever exploit. The data was just sitting there, out in the open, and the only thing needed to see it was the link. It's like a bank vault, where they installed the thick steel door, the time lock, the cameras, and then propped the door open with a chair and went home. The lock was never the problem. The lock was just never on. Because here's how these modern apps actually work, and it's the one technical thing I want you to walk away with today. The app doesn't keep the outside world at arm's length from the database. The outside world can, in a sense, reach the data directly. And the only thing standing between a random stranger and every file you've got is a set of rules. Rules that says who is allowed to see what. This user can see their own messages. This user can see nothing. That's it. That's the entire lock. T never wrote those rules. So when the internet asked their storage, hey, can I see everything in here? The answers that came back was just, sure, because nobody had ever told it to say no. And I'll be honest with you why this one got under my skin, because this exact mistake, data left reachable with no rules about who's allowed in, is not some rare exotic failure. It is the most common way modern apps leak. It's happening constantly, and it's getting worse fast, because so many apps today now get built in a hurry with AI writing the code, and AI will very happily wire the database up so the app works, and then never ever lock the door behind it. It doesn't forget out of malice, it just isn't thinking about the strangers on the internet. That's not its job. That's yours. Which is the entire reason we spend our time on this. We built a tool called GuardLayer, and this specific mistake is exactly what it hunts for. It reads through an app and flags the most wide open doors before the app ships. Back when it's a 5-minute fix instead of a front page catastrophe. I'm not going to pretend it would magically save T, different setup, different stack, but the class of mistake that ended T, the unlocked door, that's the thing it's built to catch, because almost nobody leaks data on purpose. They just forget to turn the lock on. T wasn't brought down by a mastermind. It was brought down by a door somebody forgot to lock twice. And the genuinely scary part isn't how sophisticated that is. It's how ordinary it is. How easy it would be for it to be your app. So if you're building something, anything that holds people's stuff, go ask yourself one question T never did. Not, does it work? Because it works great. It already works good. Ask this. If a stranger knocks on the door, what's stopping them from walking in? If you don't know the answer, that is the answer. Links below.